Today, just going through some of the details from practice, it sounds like the Raiders may have gotten the upper hand on the Niners on both sides of the ball. It's hard to really say one way or another. This was day 13 of practices. Brock Purdy, according to Jack Hammer, and I'll go off Jack's numbers, 16 of 28, touchdown run, 2 picks in the 11 on 11. It sounds like he had another pick in the 7 on 7. Sam Darnold went 3 for 3. He also had an interception in the 7 on 7. Trey Lance 1 for 2. He also had an interception in the 7 on 7, but 3 picks for Purdy. Maybe, I think someone said 5 or 6 on the day. Maybe it was 4 picks for Purdy, but definitely 2 in the 11 on 11s, and definitely 1 each for Lance and Darnold. So what do you make of? I mean, it's hard to say what do you make of interceptions that you didn't see. So
Right.
that's always and even the people that were there, you got to kind of wonder what they saw, because I saw their vantage point. They're a field and a half away, so it was like they're watching a practice on a football field that's either 2 fields away or 1 field away, and just from being at at Niner practice, when you do get caught on the wrong field and you're trying to look at the other field, you can see it, but man, it's hard to analyze it, let's just say. But a pick's a
Yeah.
pick. What do you make of the interceptions? What do you look at that and go, uh-oh? There's a lot of people this morning going, uh-oh, Brock Purdy, uh-oh, he's not the guy, because he's, threw some interceptions against the Raiders. How do you view it?
I have so many thoughts on this. The first thing is, all right, so Larry, in 242 regular season games, Kyle Shanahan's quarterbacks have thrown 235 interceptions. So in this offense, for whatever reason, quarterbacks throw a lot of interceptions. The only seasons where he was the OC or the head coach, 2016 with Matt Ryan, he only had 7. 2012 with Cousins and RG3, only 8. And actually last year they only threw 9 total, which was one of the best totals of his career. So you have an offense like Kyle's where you throw the ball in the middle of the field a lot. Things happen. Even Sean McVay, I think since he's been the Rams head coach, they've thrown like 84 interceptions, and Stafford had 17 the year they won the Super Bowl in the regular season. So I don't think that's like the end all be all. Now, if you throw crushing interceptions like the way Nick Mullins did in 2020, and you're in the red zone and you throw a pick 6 or a momentum changing interception, sure, that can be a huge deal. But just because you're throwing interceptions in practice too doesn't mean it's going to happen in the regular season. I mean, there was a practice Garoppolo threw 5 a few years ago, and everybody was freaking out. I think it was the year they went to the Super Bowl. But like you said, it is practice. People don't have the best vantage points. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they're working on. You don't know if it's something they would normally do in a game. Kyle may say, "Listen, this is the look I like. Throw it there. Just throw it there." Maybe that's what they're doing right now. So is it worrisome? I mean, maybe a little, just because you don't know. Our quarterbacks are unknown, all of them. Well, we know Darnold is Darnold, but in terms of Lance and Purdy, it's an unknown. So we're going into the season hoping Purdy is the guy that's going to take you to the Super Bowl, hoping he can continue what he did last season. But now it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Is he going to be a turnover machine? I don't think so. He's still working back from the elbow, I'm sure. But it's all we have right now, so it's what people are going to go off. But I don't put that much stock into it. If it's week 1 in Pittsburgh and it gets ugly, then I'll start to worry. But I'm not going to worry about it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't put a lot into the Garoppolo interceptions a few years ago, and I don't put a. To me, it's also it's like you got to be there. You got to be there. You got to see it. You got to see it, and you got to know the context, because there's the interception that there was one the other day. Brock Purdy's getting blitzed. It's 4th down. He's got 2 open runners right in his face. He throws it up for grabs, hit the receiver's hands and Greenlaw, and then popped into the air and down the field. The Tayshaun Gibson picked it out of the air, ran it back for a touchdown. Oh, it was a pick 6. Okay.
Right.
But it was a tip pass, as opposed to when you're throwing it, when you don't have a full account of the defenders and you just throw it right to the defense. I mean, there are worse picks than others. I look at Brock Purdy last year, and what do you have, 13 touchdowns and 3 picks or 4 picks, something like that,
Yeah.
in the regular season. Now, he did get he was fortunate last year, though, right? I mean, he probably had at least three or four others that could have been picks. So, it's obviously if you pile up interceptions, that's a bad thing. And if you're playing sloppy football, that's a bad thing. But, there's the airs of omission, the airs of commission, and it seems like football fans are super titillated by the airs of commission because they can see
Mhm.
it, right? It's like he threw an interception. Okay, that's bad. But what about when you drop back to pass and you just didn't see the window open and close? Well, you're not writing that down in your notebook as a negative play, but it could be a hugely negative play. So, the airs of omission we don't see. And in a day like today where Brock got all the reps, he got all the reps, he got all the completions, he got all the incompletions, and he got all the picks. Sam Darnold, it sounds like, and Trey Lance barely even played today.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? I guess it sounds like Shanahan's going to give Purdy today and yesterday, and give Darnold and Lance the preseason game on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I like to pay attention to what's happening in front of my eyes, and right now, what's happening in front of my eyes is Brock Purdy is the unquestioned starter of this football team. There's really no other way around it, and he's going to be getting all these first team reps. And Lance and Darnold right now are kind of fighting for the scraps, and we'll see what happens with those two. But this is Brock Purdy's team. I don't think that's going to change. In Shanahan's eyes, and people can agree with this or disagree with this, he's earned enough to have whatever leash Kyle has given him, however long that leash is, to be the starter on this team. And I don't think the preseason's gonna have anything to do with it. I think Brock is gonna get most of these reps, and we'll see in the preseason games, because I don't think Brock's gonna play a lot in the preseason. But that'll be the time for Darnold, and maybe that's when they're going to showcase Lance if they want. It's not something I want them to do. I want Trey Lance to be on the team this year, but the preseason could be a showcase for Trey Lance.